Yo, what's up, everybody? Yeah, man, I'm on 100. I used to have a girlfriend that lived in that building right there. I used to have a girlfriend that lived in that building right here. I'm on 100 and just feeding my own. We used to keep the dog. We had dogs over there. When I was real little, we had dogs over there. And then like years later, in my 20s, I had a girlfriend. I'm on 100 and just feeding my own. Yeah. I'll see. But she stayed in this building right here. And then when I was little, living in St. Nick, we had dogs. We used to keep dogs over there. You know, back in the days when you was little, you used to have a whole bunch of stray dogs. We had like 12 stray dogs. You just be walking around with them. And we used to rack food for them out the corner, so dog food and stuff like that. I'm on 126th Street. 126th Street. The reason I put my phone out is because I used to go to a boxing gym down there. It was down in the basement. That's with Bobby Miles, when I was with Bobby Miles. And I was thinking about Bobby Miles and Don Turner because they're still around. I don't know if they're still training fighters, but I think Don was slightly older than Bobby Miles. Don would be like 80-something years old. No. Don would be in his 90s. Don, I haven't heard he passed away. I be checking online. He don't answer the phone anymore. But Don is I'm 59. Don will be about 89 years old. Don will be about 89 years old. But when I was with me and Bobby Miles was going to a gym in the basement. And the ring was on the floor. And I used to spar Sal Manby in there. The ring was on the floor. It was just a mat on the floor. It was a mat covering the concrete. And I used to spar Sal Manby in there. Sal Manby. And then he was going to another, by myself, I was going to a gym in the Heights, in Washington Heights. It's like 183rd Street, I think it was. And that was down in the basement too. These are like, I call these like hole-in-the-wall gyms that people with a little bit of money start up. And they be having gyms, you know, people coming in and boxing and stuff. And I was in there boxing. I told you, man, I used to go to a lot of gyms in New York. Yeah. So I guess people who own the brownstone, when they own the brownstone, they sell a brownstone, and developers come and build something like that. So you own a brownstone, and it's just you and your family. You and your family own that whole brownstone. And then you sell it, and the developers turn it into an apartment complex. That's crazy, right? You see that? You take the brownstone, you grew up in the brownstone, you and your family, that's your brother's floor, your sister's floor, your other brother's floor, that's the living room, the kitchen and stuff like that. It's a house. You sell a house, and the developers turn it into a complex, an apartment complex. Turn your room into an apartment, turn your sister's room into an apartment, and your history is lost. I don't know what this is. I think this is, like I said, New York City, they take the smallest space possible and turn it into an apartment complex. Look at these buildings. I remember back in the days when I was in the Nation of Islam, the mosque was on. What was the mosque at? I don't even remember the mosque was at. I'll find it. Look at these brownstones. These shit's so beautiful. People sell it. That's how it is. When the mother and father die, the parents die, and they leave some money to the children take it and sell it. Or a lot of times the people be hooked on drugs or whatever reason, just get rid of it. And the developers come and take it. But like I was saying, back to what I was saying about the gyms, I used to go to all kind of gyms. Gym is the gym on Humboldt. I've never been in that gym. All my years of boxing, I've never been to the gym on 145th Street. The one that's over Willie Burgers. I've never been in that gym. I never trained in there, rather. I've been in there, I never trained. But as a matter of fact, there was a gym right here next to the mosque. The gym was on one side, and the mosque was on the other side. That's where a guy named Lonnie Bradley. I grew up with Lonnie Bradley. Lonnie Bradley came from that gym. But he was an amateur, he trained in that gym. He turned pro, I don't know where he went. But he came from that gym. The gym over here, back there. Was it that gym? That gym. There was a gym on 145th Street. Then there was like 2 or 3 gyms in the basement. Then you had Gleason's gym. You had Times Square boxing gym, Times Square. I showed you all that one. I showed you Times Square. I didn't show y'all Gleason's. Gleason's gym is in Brooklyn. I used to go to all them gyms. When you can fight, man, you can fight. When you can fight, you can go to any gym you want to. When you can fight, you can go to any gym you want to. You be all in the gym, all them shits. I ain't showing you that idea. This the block the mosque is on. And that's where the gym, the mosque used to be right here. The building is gone, damn, the building is gone. Damn, the building is gone. The mosque used to be right there. It was there was a gym in there, and that's the gym that Lonnie Bradley used to go to. There was a gym right there. That's where the Nation of Islam had their mosque also too. Yeah. All right, y'all. Let me see. I'm gonna walk up this block real quick. This block. Yeah. There's a church right there. There's a church right here. A church right there. There's a church right there. This church. Big churches. Look how big this church is. That church is big. Look how big that church is. Yeah. Where am I going? I'm going the wrong way. I'm supposed to be going down. Alright, y'all. Yeah. I bet you it's a church in this block. I've never been in this block in my life. I've never been in this block in my life. It's on 27th Street between 5th and Lenox. I bet you there's a church in this block. Bet you. I'm doing to put the camera in people's face. So far, I don't see a church, y'all. I don't see a church. I see some tourists. Yeah. You from Miami? Look at these shits. Look at these shits. Cool. Like this. Like I said, man, you own one of these. They were saying they were selling these for $1. It wasn't necessarily being sold for $1. You had to sign a contract and agree to fix it up. That's what it was. It wasn't no $1. Yeah. Nope, I don't see a church. All right, y'all, take it easy. Yo, what's up, everybody? There's a church right here. Fuck these guys looking at. Fuck they staring at me for. But look at this. There's another church. I don't even know what block I'm on. But I know it's a church. I'm across the street. I don't want to walk by these people. They stare at me. People is nosy. They be thinking just because they live in a block for a long time that they own the block. Like, this my block. No, it's not. You don't own these buildings. That's the mistake a lot of people make. See, a lot of these people that we at odds with right now, they own a lot of real estate in America. And that's how they're able to dictate policy and get these politicians to stay and do what they want them to do. Because they own a lot of this real estate. All this real estate, see that? All this real estate. And then those buildings down in Midtown Manhattan, those tall skyscrapers and stuff like that. They own them buildings. They're wealthy because they own a lot of property in this, in America. And they get to dictate policy, and those politicians got to do what they say because those politicians got money. See, politicians want money. That's what people fail to realize. All they want is money. They don't want you to say nice things about them. They don't give you say bad things about them. All they want is money. That's why them guys stick up for them other countries. That's why they stick up for them other countries, because them other countries put money in their pocket. That's how Claude Anderson was saying. They're giving people money, man. They want money. The only thing people respect in America is money and blood. That's all they respect. Money and blood. And they want money. Politicians be wanting money. That's why they don't speak up for poor people. They speak up for the wealthy. Because because the wealthy put money in their pocket. Yep. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna fit that one right now. I'm gonna fit that one. I don't even know what block that was again now. But there's another church. There's another church. See, and there's another church. No, that's not a church. Yes, it is. It's a church. The other building's a church. That building right there is a church. And then you got the church around the corner. Like I said, we got religion. You go in rich neighborhoods, you don't see all these churches. You go in a rich neighborhood, you see one big church. That's why Claude Anderson said a black neighborhood is like a bucket with a bunch of holes in it. And those are the holes. Those are the holes. Corner stores are the holes. Liquor stores. Everybody take money and go home at the end of the day. He said a black neighborhood goes through a great depression every night. Yep. All right, y'all, take it easy. Park nice one. Yo, like I was saying in my other video, nobody becomes wealthy in America by being nice. You gotta be mean to become wealthy in America. And the reason I was saying that is because this is one of the richest countries in the world. One of the wealthiest countries in the world, but you got people that rely on SNAP. Now, and why would you want to, and you know people rely on that, why would you want to cut it off? Why would you want to cut it off just to be mean? They're talking about they're looking for the criminals and the money wasted and all that. They are not. They're just cutting benefits to be mean. It's just a mean cabinet. Mean. And why would you want to be mean? Because you're evil. They're just a bunch of evil people in that cabinet. Evil. That bald-headed guy, Peter, they all evil. Evil white people that just find it hard to be nice. They're just mean and evil. Devils, they act like devils, that's what they are. Straight up fucking devils, just doing devilish shit for no reason, just to be mean. They sit at their nice tables every night, eat, throw food away, and waste shit, but then they can't let somebody else have it. Well, I mean, I don't want the crumbs with their table, I'm just saying they're just mean.